Welcome to the Menowave Lounge. Today, we're diving into a conversation that speaks directly to women facing the next big chapter in their lives. If you've spent years showing up for everyone else and now find yourself wondering, what's next for me? You'll want to keep listening. Our guest today is here with us to celebrate your strength and help you rediscover the joy of showing up for yourself. Stay with us as we explore how to embrace change, find your community, and uncover the beautiful possibilities ahead. Your journey starts right now, right here in the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. I'm Coach Robin, and this is Coach Marti, and today we have Karen Rae, and we are so glad to have you today. Hi, Karen.
Hi, it's good to be here. Thanks for the invite, and I'm looking forward to some fun conversation.
Well, we're super excited to have you. Karen champions a vibrant community empowering women to thrive. Inspired by her own journey, Karen created Fave as a space for women to connect, celebrate their unique paths, and amplify their voices through initiatives like celebrating 1 million women, igniting feminine power worldwide. Fueled by a culture of support and celebration, Fave is reshaping how women connect and make an impact together. And Karen, your work in creating spaces for women to connect and thrive is just truly remarkable. We're super excited to have you. And we like to start out with a Meno moment, a little lighthearted or sometimes poignant moments that happen to all of us as we go through this change of life in menopause. Robin, you want to start us off?
Well, yes, I can definitely. I have a pretty long list of Meno moments today. Talk about juggling way too many balls in the air today, going from one situation to another situation and always just trying to, refocus so I'm staying in the present with it. Right now, I am sitting with a tedious little iPad trying to stay out of the shadows and just being grateful that I'm here. And we have Karen here, and I'm with Marti, and I'm with people that love me. So everything else, it is what it is, and it is today. So I'm not going to worry about it. How about you, Karen?
Sure, I'm happy to share. So it was funny because I was just thinking of this earlier today for whatever reason. Through the real challenging times of menopause for me, one of the things that hit me really, one day I was sitting in my bedroom and I would just had this like hormonal rush and I literally shouted out, I am like a raging teenager. And as a teenager, I was fairly mellow compared to a lot of teenage girls. I didn't have those highs and lows like a lot of people did. But during menopause, yes, I did. I had to apologize to the humans around me. I said, feel like a raging teenager. I'm in menopause. Stay back.
Very much relate to that. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I was thinking I actually had a couple of them and they stuck in my brain. They're kind of fitting because our conversation last week, Robin and I were talking about our mood swings and unexpected crying. And I see that a lot in the group. And that happened to me on Friday. My daughter's 18 and her new obsession is this giant antique marketplace in our city. And it is humongous. It is like overwhelming, but it's really awesome. And I haven't been to those places. My mother passed away 10 years ago, actually next month. And that was kind of our thing we would do. We would go to those places and she loved them. So while I'm thrilled that my daughter has adopted that love and that passion of looking through all the old stuff, I went with her because she wanted to show me and I was looking for some stuff. And I spent a good couple hours in there. And when I left, I just sat in my car and just started bawling, like all the tears coming up. And I was like, what is this? Like, it's just the antiques. I like it. It's cool in there. But then I started thinking of my mom and just remembering that when those feelings come up, it's just a moment of letting that go. All the pain and the sadness and the grief. I mean, we never really stop grieving. It just, gets further and further away until let that up. And then another thing that came up on that same journey, I was having a weird day on Friday. As I'm driving up the street, I missed my turn. I missed this big intersection. So I was just going to go up and make a U-turn at the next place I could. And I got caught. There was this big gap of heavy traffic. and this dude was going real slow, making his right turn. So I was like trying to get around him, and this car's coming at me, and I'm thinking I'm going to die of like that fear of driving. And I was thinking of the women in the group. Thankfully, I know what was happening, but yeah, a lot of us are starting to get a little bit feeling a little edgy behind the wheel. And there's so many reasons for that. But yep, it happened to me. Thankfully, I was able to say a few choice swear words and get on with it. But those were mine. But thinking about the things that have come up for women that we've been sharing, it happens to me too, as it does to all of us.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so true. So true.
Yeah.
Wow. Karen, we're so glad to have you here. And we always start out by asking what started your journey into developing and creating Fave Lifesyles?
Yeah, I was in that place, and I'm sure a lot of other ladies, as you're becoming an empty nester. And
Mhm.
so, and then that's such a transition time, and then putting that on top of menopause too, and all the other transitions that we go through in that season of life, if you will. And I had been a stay-at-home mom for 27 years. We had a busy life. We had lots of things. I did a lot of fundraising, and I was really involved in my kids in the schools and all that kind of thing. And I thought, well, I need to prepare for this. So what is next for me? And I thought, my husband at that time was traveling around the world. And so I had some free time of my own for the first time a bit. And my kids really like to film. So I thought, oh gosh. And it was just around the time when YouTube was just coming out, and, you're doing vlogs and all that type of stuff. I thought, oh my gosh, what if I created a show, kind of my own Today show, and brought women together? Because I was looking for a place to gather, because as their kids leave school, a lot of those connections go away. And it's like, how are we going to connect with other people? What is that going to look like? I thought, well, I'll just create it. Why not? And so I learned how to do some filming. My kids were really into it. So they're like, okay, mom, you can learn this too. So we got a camera, got a tripod, learned how to self-film and all that kind of stuff. And I approached a winery, because we have quite a few wine tasting rooms here in Woodinville, Washington. There's 120 of them. And I approached one of them and I said, hey, if I brought some ladies in, could you host an event for us? And they said, yes. And so I said, well, okay, we're going to interview you. And I brought in a couple friends, a friend of mine, Lori London, who's a New York Times bestselling author. We did two cute ways to do a ponytail. A hairstylist came in. We had a lip bar. We tried on lipsticks and, just had some fun together. And 45 women showed up. And I thought, women are looking for a place to gather. And it was around lifestyle. It was around fun. There was no pressure. There was nothing. You just could come and show up with some girlfriends and have a good time. And so that was the beginning of Fave. And so then I went and I had other events at other wineries. I kind of went to other ones, and I'd interview different women in the community who had maybe a business or jewelry, or, we'd talk about all sorts of things. And we talk a lot of times around our stories. What are the stories of the women that are in the community? And that's kind of how it started. And then I walked through some really challenging times, unexpected to me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more. What happened? Because here it is, you've got this really awesome events going with Fave and got that momentum going, and things are looking good. So then what happened?
Yeah, and it was all around a passion project. I wasn't thinking, oh, I need a business or anything like that. And then I walked through a divorce. And with that too is a lot of other unexpected things of living on your own for this first time, managing your finances. We had a lot of things that happened. We downsized. There was just like 5 major life transitions all at once. Just being on your own and trying to navigate all of those different things. And I thought, okay, well, if I have Fave, what can it become? And to top it all off on all these transitions, I was walking through menopause at the same time. And girls, we all know, we all have different things during that, but mine were the mood swings, all these different things that come into play, and trying to manage your hormones and your moods while walking through some major transitions was really, I had to reach out for a lot of help. And,
Yes, I can relate.
yeah. And I thought, I cannot do this on my own. I need some people. And that actually, so as I kind of developed this into a business, Fave Lifesyles, at first we had events, and then, well, hey, let's throw in a world pandemic where we can't have events. And so I created an online magazine and brought in the experts to write articles, to share their stories, to help guide us through along on our journey. And actually, our vanity numbers were great, but it wasn't really providing the income that I needed to support myself. So I transitioned and I saw where the money was, and the experts were doing business, the women in business were doing business together. And I thought, well, and one of the women said, she goes, Karen, one of the things that you provide for us is that consistency and that accountability, and just a place for women in business to gather. So that's where I created our business society, where a collective of women can come together and really journey together. And this is part of kind of the pillars that I've created in my life, in my business, in whether it's going through menopause or whatever. These three pillars apply to anything that I walk through in life with.
I'm very excited to hear about those pillars in a moment, but I wanted to step back because I've been through a divorce as well. I wasn't going through menopause, but my children were young, and I was trying to get my hypnotherapy business to a place where it was more than just part-time income, but where it could support me and two children. And I gotta tell you, I don't know if you experienced this, Karen, but your confidence takes a big, huge hit. I mean, the divorce alone, but then you're trying to take a project from a passion project to something that can support us. And then dealing with all the menopause, all that stuff, all of our stuff comes up that we haven't dealt with. May I ask, how did that shape your journey? I mean, did you notice that? Was that something that you struggled with?
Oh, absolutely. Being a stay-at-home mom, I didn't have the confidence. I thought, so first of all, I was 58 years old. And I thought, who in the heck in the right mind? Because in my younger years, yeah, I had run stores, done some things, but I thought I wouldn't hire me. So I thought, can I go get a job? What does that look like? My confidence, I mean, I had to work on it every single day. But here's the thing, I realized a couple of things along the way. One, I had people who believed in me. A lot of the ladies who had been coming to my events, the main thing that each one of them said as they left, and I could not put words around it. They said, Karen, we feel really special here. And I said, how do you take that? How do you put that in a little box and monetize that? So I realized we had something. I didn't know exactly what it was. And I didn't have the business skills. So I stepped in and thought, oh, I have to be a business person. I was going into this little business box and thought, okay, I got to get the skills. How does that look? And I knew enough people to kind of help me in a lot of areas, help set up a business, because I had literally never done anything like that, own my own business. So yeah, the confidence, I realized I could tap into the confidence of some of the women and their experience, their wisdom, and they were so generous to share it with me. And if you could surround yourself with people who believe in you, who see more in you than you can see for yourself right at that time, it is a special place to be.
I agree with you 100%. I have had times in my life where if it wasn't for strong women being in my life, I would have never made it through the transitions that I did. I've been through 2 divorces. I've been through some major moves. I just recently went through a move, and I had 3 ladies that came beside me every day, and they would say, what can we do? How can we support you? And if I didn't have them, I would have been in an emotional mess. But they stayed strong for me. And, those were the things that I needed at that time. It was just such a God blessing to have. And I think that that's what our menopause group on Facebook is about how we as women come together and support each other through our menopause journey.
Yes. And so for me, the women that came, I call them my wise friends. And during divorce and all the transitions that happened, I lost a lot of people. A lot of people who were really dear to me. I was growing and had to figure out who I was. There was times walking through that I wasn't sure I liked who Karen was. I wasn't sure I liked some of those parts. And so I had to go through a lot of shedding of the onion, all the layers and all that kind of stuff, and really figure out, because I had lost who I was. So my story is about, so just to kind of go a little side road here to kind of understand where I was, I really had lost who I was. I wasn't showing up in my own life. And there was a pivot point. So here I go through divorce, unexpected, felt, all the feelings that you feel. I I was a person who didn't know her feelings. I had to discover my own feelings. I had like 4 feelings: happy, sad, angry, I was not in touch with my own feelings. It was not honest. But I went to a male counselor because I wanted to understand a male perspective, what was happening here, trying to get a grip on something to hang my hat on. And I had worked with him for a while, and I walked in one day and he goes, Karen, there's a piece of paper for you. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, there's a big black Sharpie. I've written a word on this paper. I want to know how you feel in your marriage and in your life. And I'm going, what does he expect me to write? I was so out of touch with my own feelings. I couldn't even write a word on a piece of paper. So, and he just let me be. And so finally I wrote a word, and we lifted our papers up at the same time. We had the same word: invisible.
Invisible.
Wow. Wow.
He goes, Karen, you are invisible in your own life and in your marriage. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. It has to do everything with you. He goes, how are you going to show up in your life?
And what a powerful, powerful question that is. I mean, I get chills hearing that, because here you are at 58, and yeah, you've been invisible. So this was your opportunity to craft that. You get to decide, and you get to put the stake in the ground going, okay, well, how do I want to show up? And I know we're going to talk about that, but I want to highlight this moment for you, because I see so many women in the group who they're like where you are. They have lost who they are. They're like feeling like they don't know who they are. And it's just a long, slow decline into further and further disappearing. And I like to talk to women who are inspiring women just like you are, and the women who led you to help pull you out of that. And even that therapist to show you, now, Karen, you get to decide how you're showing up.
Yeah. But it wasn't a happy moment.
Yeah.
Because, I had been showing up for everybody else, for my family, for all these different things. So I was living to the expectations of other humans, what I thought society needed me to be, what the world, my kids, whatever that looked like. And I literally walked out of there with alligator tears because I was not excited about, oh yeah, now I get to create how I want to be. That was so scary to me because I had no idea. Here's the key though. And this is really one of the first pillars of how this whole thing, where the pivot point started. I had a choice to make. And the very first choice was, am I going to show up or am I not going to show up? And the key there is a choice. You have a choice, and it is yours to hold. So if you can't see beyond that, I just sat there and I said, oh, I have a choice. I am going to show up or I'm not going to show up. And how might that look walking forward?
Yes. Well, that's a lot of self-awareness. Number one, just to come to that place where you can look inside yourself and have that awareness that to say, how am I going to show up today? Who am I really? And I think when you said that you felt invisible, I think a lot of women feel that way in different times of their life. And then when you throw menopause on top of that, then they start to fade away. It's like nobody wants to be around me because I have all this, hot flashes going on. I'm weight gain, and then they continue to beat themselves up. But really, what the message is to say, we get to choose who we are right now today, with all our warts and all our bumps and all our everything, and we get to come and we get to be authentic in our life. And sometimes that means, hey, I'm having a really crappy day, but I showed up anyway and I'm still here. That opens up for someone to give you some love. And sometimes it's really hard to let somebody love us.
It is. And especially during menopause, where sometimes you don't really feel love. I mean, you don't feel like you should be loved because you're, a hot mess. You're a superhero and a hot mess all at the same time.
Yeah.
And yes. And so when you're walking through that season, and menopause is so interesting because it has that before season, mid season, and after, in that after space. And ladies, you got to decide how you're going to show up through it all. And each season of it, you have to kind of reevaluate, how do I want to show up? Right.
Well, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and be real and authentic. And I mean, we say those words, but sometimes it's very, very hard because we have a lot of preconditioning from our childhood and the things that we grew up with. to always have to be that strong person. And sometimes to be able just to let that slip away a little bit is a very scary thing. And so choosing to have a way of showing up, warts and all, that's a blessing. Those are words of wisdom right there.
Yes. And I think it gives you a little something to hang on to. Oh, I'm going to show up. What might that look like? Because then it starts moving you forward, how to seek some answers.
And those answers will be clear when you start being open to seeing them and hearing them.
Yeah.
We've talked even before we started recording this, talking about authenticity and owning who we are and taking down that facade of who others expect us to be and judging ourselves. And, because Karen is, and you and Meno moment, Robin, you're Robin, cheapers. Dude, sorry about that. Lost your name for a second. Oh, okay. So anywho, so when Karen, you and Robin were sharing that, I was thinking back just a couple of years ago. I was just getting over shingles. I like been in bed for 5 weeks, just in massive pain. I wasn't feeling good about myself. I was feeling low, and I was kind of at a transition point where I was with my business, taking it into a big direction. And then my daughter comes home and she's got this new friend, and his parents are both high-powered doctors. And so I go and pay Facebook to check them out, and website and everything is like how perfect they are, how, just how great, and just how their beautiful fancy house and their vacations and their philosophy. They have this little thing. And I'm just like, I felt like about this big, because I'm looking at myself at the time I was like 49 years old. And I was like, well, I'm not as fit shape that I want to be in. I'm not as successful financially as these two doctors are. I don't have all of this stuff. And I was really getting down on myself. And if we're not careful, if we don't surround ourselves with women that we can be authentic and vulnerable with, and we can see that from them. Like, I mean, it would have meant so much for me, and it certainly does now, to talk to women that have been through it. And Karen, I bet you felt this too, that have been through their stories, and they're willing to share that. And like, no, everything wasn't all glitzy and glamorous and perfect and beautiful the whole time. There was warts, and there was sweat and tears and pain. That.
Absolutely. And that is why I also, as you know, I will talk about the three pillars. The first one, of course, was making that choice, but to celebrate. What if we celebrated being in menopause? And what if we turned to the experiences and the stories of women that have gone through?
Yes.
And so that is what this women's initiative that I'm currently doing, #celebrating 1 million women, is all about. It's about the stories that we connect with, the support that we need, and the connection of women that we need to connect us with. Because when you're connecting with women and surrounding yourself with amazing people, and that's another one of the pillars, it's women, though, that pull you forward, that not just believe in you, but challenge you to be your best self. And to move forward, to learn, to grow, tap into their wisdom and their experience. And so there is a difference. It's not women who will sit in the muck and mire with you and let you be. I mean, it's to be vulnerable, but really to pull you to that place to take an action forward. And that's really important to who you surround. I call them also women of strength. They're very strong in their values. They're very grounded. And I think a lot of these ladies are the women, they do things, they don't need the applause for it. They're just doing what they do and moving and bringing other people with them. They're just so loving. And if you're open to that, and if you're open to not staying where you're at, those are the people who keep challenging me to take that next step, because otherwise I might just retire and be done. But there's this calling forward to make this impact, if you will. So whether you're corporate, whatever you do, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom, maybe you're retired, but surrounding yourself with those just really incredible humans who make you feel good.
And they love you through the rainstorms of life, and they love you through the sunshine, and they help you become your higher self. And they're there supporting you and lifting you up. I mean, that's something that I've always tried to aspire to, because I had those women in my life. And that's what caused me to want to pursue life coaching, so that I could be that one that helps women to rise up to their authentic self. Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found myself, I was looking back when I was younger, just starting out professionally in the corporate world, just gravitating towards women who were probably a good 5, 10, 15 years older than I was. And I look back on that and I'm so appreciative. I mean, not that I didn't enjoy the women that were my age, it was a different dynamic, but just to be with these women in the workspace and know their families and see them, hear their advice with that 10 years or so of maturity on me. And then especially even the ones that were like my mom's age at that point and getting up into the menopause years. And I look back and I am really grateful for the small moments of lifting me up and showing and reminding me that, hey, I can be all of this. Like exactly like you said, Karen, pulling you forward, because I think we sometimes can get bogged down in the yuck. And then we're talking to a friend and it's a pile on and we're just all like, there's all this stuff, which has its place, don't get me wrong, but to allow yourself to be open to reach out your hand and to take the hand that's reaching out to you to pull you along. And that also takes a lot of trust. And it takes a lot of willingness to be open and vulnerable.
Absolutely.
So wonderful one on the first pillar, making the choice. Exactly. What is the second pillar?
The second one, it is so funny as I reflect, I couldn't have put it in these terms, these three pillars, when I was walking through a lot of other situations early on in life. But I really look back and I thought, you know what, this is what I did then too. And I call it my book of proof. And it comes in handy every once in a while to realize that you have actually gotten through things in a positive way and to reflect on the lessons learned. And so one of them was education. Education is power, ladies. And that's what I love what Tina and Gwen are doing here in Menowave and in the Menopause Support Group is they are collecting women who are experts that can help guide you, who can help educate you, who can help you along the way, gains the skills and the tools that you need to get through, whether it be for here, it's getting through menopause. At Fave, it's we have a collection of women who support us as well, and we have lifestyle, all these different things or business, but having these women who can help us learn and grow and tap into their skills. So whether they're a coach. And so if you have not had a coach, ladies, you need a coach, and you need a different coach for different times of your walk and your journey. Sometimes you need a forgiveness coach. Sometimes you need a business coach or whatever that looks like for you. But tapping education is power. So when I was in the throes of divorce, I thought I need to learn all about divorce. I need to learn what are my rights. What is the whole scope of this? I need to know. And so I started learning all the different aspects. And so, I mean, when I walked into the lawyer too, I had my list of questions and I'm ready to go because I knew every minute I was there, he was charging me. And I'm like, hey, we're going to make this work, man. And he goes, Karen, I've never seen anybody like you. Who are you? And I said, excuse me, because I've never seen anybody emotionally so put together walking into my office. I said, well, here's the thing. You're not my counselor. You are my lawyer, and I will treat it as such. And I had a woman come in with me, and she was taking all the notes, and I was asking the questions. But I tried to treat other areas of my life like that. Okay, what is it we need to know to walk into a difficult situation or a great situation? What are the things that we need to educate ourselves around? And so I try to apply that as much as possible. What are the things we need to seek? And seek the answers. You see the women in the menopause support group, they're seeking answers. And you ladies have some of the answers. And I just love that. We have that accessibility of vetted women who can help us. And that's really key to have somebody who has already vetted some people for us to tap into.
Oh, yes. I completely agree. I mean, since we've been doing the podcast, we have met doctors, naturopaths, coaches, nutritionists. I mean, we've done 30-something podcasts, and I learn something new every time I talk to these ladies. They're bright, they're intelligent, they're smart. They have amazing answers. And the thing that is common among all of them is that they're here to support the women in the menopause group. And that is such a gift. That's such a gift.
It is such a gift. And because they care. And I think that women, whether they're walking through menopause or any other kind of transition in life, they want to know the expert that they're seeking or the type of help they're needing, that person cares and can hear them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I love the fact, like Robin said, we've been interviewing each other and learning more and more about what all of all of you ladies and all of our providers do. And I love being able to go in and saying, hey, I've got an answer to your question. Now, it's not coming from me, but I just talked to so-and-so about this, and here's what they had to say. Check it out. I love to be able to help someone who is legitimately seeking out answers and truly has a question. And there's certainly a time and a place for venting and complaining, but I am a problem solver.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, something's not working for me. Yeah, I want the answers. I want to find the answers. And my goodness, if I find somebody who is asking a question, I know the answer. I want to point them in the right direction. I don't want to take credit for it. That's why I always say, okay, well, I talked to so-and-so and this is what she said. Check it out. Don't take my word for it. It feels good to be able to do that and to be in that position to help these women in the group. And I know we all appreciate the women that are truly asking, because I love to see that, because they're not just rolling over and letting this just take them down. They want to feel better. They want to have a better outlook. They want to be able to thrive in the next half of their life. And it's just amazing when they can do that.
Absolutely, Marti. So when I was going through the divorce, I had this saying, as I'm creating my new beautiful life. And I was fighting for that. I was seeking it, then kind of get divorced. And then we're in a different space. We're in lockdown for however long. And so I kind of lost that a little bit. And, we have ebbs and flows in our life. I've just come out of some other really difficult life situations in the last couple of years. And I couldn't see even how to create that new beautiful life. But I kept trying to take steps to keep moving forward, if you will.
And how do you do that? How do you find the strength to do that? We have these wobbles, like you said, there's a lot going on, but we're working towards something to make our life so beautiful. And then something happens. It could be a cross word, or it could be somebody saying something nasty to you, or completely knocking the wind out of your sails. How did you find to come back to it?
Yeah. I stuck with those pillars. I remember sitting at this desk about a year and a half ago. It was a really tough situation that went on for a couple of years. And I sat here and I asked myself out loud, I had a little conversation. I said, Karen, how do you want to show up? I didn't have quite the capacity to show up as I had been. I had to redefine what that was going to look like. And I said, this is how I can show up. I actually had to set some boundaries around it, because I really had to protect myself. And I had to show up for Karen. I couldn't show up for anybody else at that time. I had to say, how can I educate myself in this particular situation? And who now can I surround myself with? And I was very, very choosy about who could come into my space. Who could I trust at that time? And now that situation is we've come through a lot of different things, and I can broaden all those spaces, if you will, allow other people to back in. And what is that going to look like in this new space? So I just keep applying those things. It pulls me forward. It really challenges me to show up. And sometimes, you know what? You can only show up for you.
Very true. Very true. So it sounds like the surrounding yourself with amazing people also moved into this amazing Fave Lifestyles that you have. So tell us a little bit about your community of amazing women.
Yeah, they are. Oh, wow. So we have these biz chats that we meet weekly, and we have a lifestyle and a business community, and we're expanding that. These ladies, I think the best compliment I have ever gotten, a neighbor of mine came to one of my events, and she goes afterwards, Karen, I have to tell you, I have never been around so many amazing women in one room. She goes, you have amazing friends. I'm like, oh, I do. These ladies, I mean, some of them I had never even met. They were there for the first time. But amazing people attract amazing people. But I think the thing about it is that I call it Fave style or Karen style. I don't know. We don't do things like everybody else. So when I have an event, so we have an event, if you're in the Seattle area, it's June 22nd. But when we have events, we go to the heart. I can't say it's an empowerment. We're just real. We just come on, put your guard down. You can come into the space and just feel really good about yourself. And so it's right now, our lifestyle events are around our stories, and it's around not the circumstances so much as it is around the hope, the inspiration, and the lessons learned from our stories.
Yes. And that is really true until I actually sat down and wrote about the last couple months, I didn't realize how much I had gone through. And I think for a lot of women, we take all these amazing things that we do for granted.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're strong women. Okay, we're going to pick up and move and shift, and we make do. We bend the rules of law to make stuff happen, whether it's for our kids, for our family, for our business, for ourselves, or whatever it is. But I think that when I hear you talk about that, the stories, our stories, it's really important that we tell our stories. And if you don't think that you have a story, you do.
You do.
There's somebody that needs to hear your story. And there's somebody out there that needs that encouragement, needs that faith. So if you don't think you have a story, do think about where you've been in just the last 30 days, and your story is in there. Where you are in the last 60 days, your story's in there. Where you came through something in the past year, there's your story.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. And right now, our theme for 2024 is being brave. So every woman, I mean, every day you have to be brave. I mean, sometimes it's showing up in your business or whatever that looks like. Maybe it's in a relationship. Maybe it's at a job, you're changing jobs. There's so many instances of being brave. And so here at Fave, any woman can go and share her story being brave. And we have made it really easy for women. We have 16 questions you answers, like what was the circumstance? What was your pivot point? We have these specific questions to lead you through your story. And it goes up onto our app for all the ladies to read in that format. It doesn't cost anything. It's just sharing a bit of you and your experiences, your wisdom, and your lessons learned. But it inspires. I mean, I'm reading some of the comments and they're like, oh my gosh, this is what I needed to hear today.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, do you mind sharing any stories that come to your mind that were especially helpful for you, that helped inspire you to pull yourself up and into where you are now?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of stories. We have like 38 stories because we just launched this hashtag celebrating 1 million women. As I read each story, there's something in there that I need to hear that day, because even though there's different characters, it might be a different situation. Yeah. There's some key points of things that we have felt, that we have experienced, and those lessons like, oh yeah, I need to learn that one. It's just so relatable. In fact, we have these little paddles at Fave when I have events. One side has heart, so you can give the woman who's telling the story some love. The other side says, I relate. So ladies, if you relate to the menopause, the divorce, the whatever it is, yeah, we go through a lot of similar situations. And one time I was asked early on, oh, would you come to Peru and interview some ladies down there? Because it doesn't matter where you're at in the world. Women have similar experiences. We have feelings that we need to deal with. And whether it be menopause, okay, what woman doesn't go through menopause? You know, what if we could talk about these in the format of a story? Some of these things that are really difficult to talk about, that there aren't conversations around. I mean, every story that's been turned in so far is different. One of the things that's really interesting, one of the things that the women who have written their stories are saying is that it's one of the bravest things that they have done to come and share their story.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Courage is different for everybody. And what you walk through and how you find your courage is unique to you. And that's how you develop your authentic self of who you are, by walking through those experiences and coming through on the other side. That is how you show up. That's how you show your encouragement, not only for yourself, but for other people, because they need to hear it, because they're walking through their own thing and they need to know, yeah, there's light on the other side.
Yes. And actually, that's one of the questions. What does courage mean to you? To me, courage has shown up in my life by just me showing up for me. Because I thought I had to show up for everybody else, and I don't. I have to first show up for me.
Do you mind sharing a couple of examples of what showing up for you looks like? Because I know a lot of women are probably not used to doing that, to showing up for other people. What does showing up for ourselves look like?
Yeah, showing up for me. Oh my goodness. So I'm more creative than I ever thought I was. I had no idea I was creative, but So showing up for me was just kind of following my heart and stepping out and taking action. And so early on, not only did I host events, we created a show. It was a Fave Lifesyles show, and it's out there on YouTube. And it was just like this, how everybody's doing today, but it was in person. So we were filming live. So showing up for me was actually following through on some of these ideas I had.
Yeah.
And going, what if I did this? What would we do? And so we filmed live. Then we created a studio. I was filming. One day we filmed 8 different episodes of 4 different shows. So I started producing shows for other people. Who knew I could do that? That showing up for myself. I mean, we were doing incredible things. I had no idea I could do that. And I just kept going. Well, here we are today. I'm launching this hashtag celebrating 1 million women. I don't know if it's going to fly or not. We just launched it 2 months ago. That's showing up. I had this idea. I'm believing in myself. That's also, it's what courage is showing up. It's like, oh, it can fail and it's okay.
Yes.
I'm going to try to do this. And if we need to pivot, we pivot. What the heck? You only live once.
Yeah.
Yes. Showing up, speaking of, courage, I wrote a story for 1 million. And just from the experience, and by the way, the questions are amazing. And if you don't know how to write, when you're writing your story for the hashtag 1 million women, the questions really pull it out of you and they make you really dig deeper into it. I think so often we take our courage for granted, that it's always there. But when we really actually sit down and celebrate that or look at that in a way that says, wow, I did that. That just gives you that confidence to walk that road, for yourself. That's part of that showing up, that digging deeper, that knowing that you have the confidence because you have showed up. It's just like when Marti and I started this podcast, neither one of us had done podcasting at all. And it started with an idea and we just said, hey, let's start doing this. And next thing you know, here we got these beautiful backgrounds. We're part of this amazing group. And it was because we showed up. We showed up, we took an idea and we brought it in and made it our own and made it authentic. And it's just been such an amazing and an important event and part of our lives.
Yes. And one thing I really want to encourage women, showing up or being courageous or brave doesn't have to be a big thing.
Right.
Yeah. When I turned 50, my cousin had said she had done something. She said she did one new thing a day for like 50 days. And she challenged herself. And I thought that sounds fun. Do you know how hard it is to do one new thing? To get like a different coffee because you're used to the same coffee. Yeah. Okay, that's brave because it takes you out of your comfort zone. And then maybe you walk this way every day. What if you walked that way?
Yeah.
Or making a decision to be honest with yourself about your feelings. Maybe that's showing up for yourself and how brave that is.
Yes.
Well, and all of those examples of what your friend did is how we also retrain our minds out of that comfort zone of being small, especially if we've spent 50 odd years being small. What I tell my clients is like, let's change our physicality. Let's go sit over in a different chair. I always go back to this story many years ago. I'd lost my job and I was going through a divorce at the same time, had to move up to the mountains with my mom. I didn't have kids at that point. And I would just sit and I would play like solitaire on the computer. And I would just start ruminating and start thinking of all this stuff that was going on. And she would get mad at me and she's like, stop that, go do something else. Because what happens is then your mind makes that connection. So I could be like in a pretty decent mood and I'm just killing like 5 minutes, going to sit down waiting for her to come so we could go eat. And I'd sit down and start playing solitaire and I'd start getting sad because I'd made that connection. So with what your friend did, I think that's brilliant. And I think women listening to this might ought to give this a fun try because you go out and just do something different, just something out of the way, take a different way home, buy a different cup of coffee or something different. Okay, I am a brave person. I am claiming who I want to be. I'm making a decision of who I want to be. And this person is going to try something new. And that just expands and starts going back and forth on each other because you're trying something different. You're doing something new. And maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but hey, you did it.
Yeah. And you know what? Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a hug.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
I'm doing something new tonight. I am going to a event that I literally know no one.
Nice.
And I thought it sounds kind of fun. and I'm going by myself. And I signed up for it. And it's not even,
Wow.
I got to drive way the heck out there to even get to this place. And I'm like, I'm kind of going, now what did I sign up for?
I had that exact same thing happen just yesterday, Karen, where I walked into a business meeting the businesses in my new community. And I was late by about a half an hour. I walked into a room with all these people and I didn't even know anything, sat down and just, okay, what are we talking about? Let's be part of the conversation. It was a really odd feeling, but in the end of it, I came out meeting friends, making new friends, talking to new people, and it became a really great experience. I felt a little strange walking into the middle of a meeting, but then after I melted into it and met the people, and they graciously gave me a lot of attention and said, hey, welcome. So, and that's that connection piece. Piece.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to leave the ladies with, I know we're going to be wrapping up here soon, is how do you want to show up for yourself? What's a fun name that you can give your life story? Like the story that you want to create, not the past story. What's the future story?
Like a name, like what kind of name? Like
I call mine, I'm creating my new beautiful life.
Okay. Beautiful.
Or creating my beautiful life. What's the name of your story? And so I challenge you to think on that a little bit. It might be kind of fun to see all the names.
Yeah.
Mine is living my authentic life. And for me, I had to make some big life shifts to come in and start living my authentic life and starting to develop what that really looked like, really digging deeper and pulling out those pieces that didn't serve me any longer so that the authentic me can come out and really shine.
Yeah. And as you have that name, that's something that draws you forward. And then you can ask yourself, is this something that's going to drive me to that? You know, and take those actions. How about you, Marti? Do you have a name for your life that you would like to create?
Oh gosh, so many come to me. Mostly, I think is like something around being my own superhero. And because whenever I do my image of who I am in this stage, when I go for my walks and I put on my meditation music and I just imagine myself as like almost like one of the Avengers, right? Standing up there. I've got gray hair, carrying extra pounds, but my goodness, I can stand there with the superhero music behind me of what I want to create, who I want to inspire, and the love that I want to share with as many people as I can, whether it be friends, family, the women in the menopause support group, and even beyond, anyone listening to this podcast. And even if I see you on the street, I want to be able to be that light that lights that spark.
I love that. That's a great title for a book too, being my own superhero.
Being my own superhero.
There's your brave story. Because
I think we all have a little superhero in us.
Yeah.
Well, Karen, it's just been such an amazing pleasure to have you on our podcast today. And some final thoughts, some takeaways for me are show up in your life, be authentic in showing you up. You have more courage than you know. Educate yourself, find out what it is that you don't know, and try something new. I love that. Try something new every day. And surround yourself with amazing people. I mean, both Marti, you and Karen and Gwen and all the ladies in the group, care providers, those are amazing people. And that's who I love putting myself around. This has been such an enlightening podcast. And I just thank you, Karen, so much for being here. Marti, Karen, any last final thoughts for you?
Well, thank you for allowing me to come and chat with you ladies today. It's been a lot of fun, and just wanted to encourage the ladies to just show up, live your life on purpose, love on each other, and come visit us at Fave. We will love on you too. You can write your story and be a part of multiple communities, and good stuff. Thank you so much for having me.
No, you're welcome. What is the website again for people who want to go out and check out Fave and maybe contribute their story?
Absolutely. Ladies, you can find us at www.fave, that's F-A-V-E, like all your favorites, lifestyles.app. And hit the celebrate button and you can go read the stories or submit a story.
I'm just going to add one thing in really quick. I am excited to announce my upcoming mind massage sessions are going to start this summer. I'm holding them every Wednesday evening. These sessions are specially designed to help you manage menopause stress, anxiety, and emotional roller coasters, guiding you towards deep relaxation and mental clarity. Each week, we're going to dive into topics like self-love, boosting confidence, and easing stress. I want to equip you with the tools to find find peace and rejuvenation during this transformative time. So if you are a member of the Menopause Support Group on Facebook, you can just check out the events tab. You can just click on it. They're going to be every Wednesday evening. So pick a date and a time that works for you. If you are not in the Menopause Support Group, or if you're not on Facebook, then I will drop the link in the show notes, and would love to have you join me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us again for another amazing Menowave Lounge podcast. Hot flashes and cool conversations. Go out and be your authentic self and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Robin. It's been wonderful. Thank you for joining us in the Menowave Lounge. If you'd like to connect with Marti, Robin, our guests, or any of our expert Menowave care providers for personalized advice and support, head on over to our website at menowave.org and fill out an assessment that will match you with a provider who knows just how to help. Remember, you don't have to face menopause alone. Our team is here to provide the guidance and care you deserve. So, take that step towards reclaiming your well-being and connect with a Menowave care provider today. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Menowave Lounge, Hot Flashes and Cool Conversations.